Hey guys, welcome to the CO visit. Colin here, and always with my trusty coffee. Thank you for clicking on this video. Thank you for being here. I do appreciate it. I hope everyone's doing well on this hump day, April 2nd. Jehovah's Witnesses, if you're watching this video, I'm glad you are. Thank you for being here. I want to do a little exercise in some just honest, critical thinking. And I want you to make, if you're capable, if you're able, to do an honest evaluation. This is what I want you to do. First of all, I want you to take just a piece of paper or a notebook paper, if you have a notebook there, and make two columns, one that says yes and one that says no. And as we go down this list that I'm going to talk about today, just check yes or no if you agree with what I'm saying. What is this based on? It's based on the governing body update number 2 that's on jw.org. The part that I found very interesting out of that whole thing, and I've talked about several parts already, are the testimonies of two young brothers and sisters from Nicaragua. They give their testimony about how they had the opportunity to study in universities, prestigious careers, medicine, for example, young lady, and they rejected it. They gave it up. A young man gave up his opportunity for a career to be a barber. This is what I want you to think about. This is what I want you to check on there. And if you look down below in the comment section and in the information about this video, the description, there's a link to a video with Brother King Jedely, where basically he's talking about with great pride all of his experience and studies to become the real estate mogul that he is. And behind him, he's displaying his university degrees. The same ones that these brothers and sisters, rank and file brothers and sisters, gave up because that's what the governing body teaches their members to do. So let's start off. Remember, you're going to check yes or no. Number one, do you think that an organization, I'll make this easy for you, just pretend for a minute it's not your organization, if that makes it easier for you. So you're going to check yes or no. Do you think it's correct? Do you think that an organization has any place or any right to teach their members, to tell their members, to make their members believe that God does not want you to pursue a higher education? Check yes or no. Number two, do you think it's correct for one of those organizations' leaders who believes this, who teaches this, who tells people this, to give an interview on a video in public that's on YouTube where he's bragging about just that? His achievements in the secular world, what he had to study, what he had to go through, and display his diplomas and degrees. Check yes or no. Number three, do you believe it's correct that the same organization that discourages its members, tells its members that it's not a wise use of time. There are dangers, that they should not pursue higher education because there's no time for that, because the end of this system is so close. Do you agree that that same organization has any right whatsoever to then later on send letters to its congregations and ask for professionals with university degrees? And not only that, ask them to volunteer and donate all of their time? Check yes or no, please. Number 4, do you think that that same organization that's preaching about giving your resources, about giving up your time, sacrificing your opportunity to have a better education and get a better job, should be asking for professionals? Because somebody has to do the building, somebody has to do blueprints, somebody has to supervise construction, somebody has to oversee the legal aspects of this organization. How are you going to do that without professionals that don't have university education? And yet they're building a $300+ million studio, audiovisual studio in Ramapo. Does that seem right to you? If the end of this system is so close? Is there consistency there? Is there congruity with what they're saying and yet what they're practicing themselves? Check yes or no, please. Now, all of you know that I live in Honduras, Central America. We're neighbors with Nicaragua. I've been there before. Okay, the young lady that's in that video must be from an affluent family. I'll tell you why. She has braces and she had the opportunity to go to med school. Only very rich families can afford either one of those. These are very poor countries. There's lots of oppression. There's lots of need, lots of poverty. Very few people actually get the opportunity to study a career like that and have a better life. So yet again, you're going to check yes or no. Do you think it's really looking at long term? It's fair for a person, especially from a region like one of these, that has the possibility to study a career like that, not to? And for what? For an organization that's saying the end is almost here, and yet how many times have they failed in that already? Many times. Many times. And they keep having to change their doctrines, change their outlook on certain things, get rid of certain beliefs, change certain prophecies, new light when things don't work out. And then they have to somehow cover it up because they won't apologize. It's not their fault. That's the way God operates, right? And then they say, like Brother Splain said, Splain, that the governing body is neither inspired nor infallible. So yet again, check yes or no. Does that exempt them from any culpableness, any responsibility? Can they just blame God? Can they just say, we didn't know? Can they just say, well, we never said we're inspired or infallible? Does that just make it all go away? Does that make it all better? How about when they said at one time that absolutely no blood transfusion was acceptable? And then a few decades later, fractions. Do you really agree with that? Yes or no? Since basically the founding of the organization, as soon as Rutherford came into the picture, way back then, over 100 years ago, until just a year or so ago, you could not wear beards. Men could not wear beards in the congregation. If you did, you were being rebellious, you were unkempt, you were disorderly, and you would not have any privileges in the congregation. You could not hold any privileges. You were marginalized in that way. And then all of a sudden, without any biblical basis whatsoever, there never was from the beginning, but they never gave any explanation as to why. The explanation they did give was that times are changing, it's now acceptable, so we have to change too. Something that went against everything the organization stood for the past 100 years, where they said, we don't change with the times. We don't change with worldly fashions and things like that, because Jehovah never changes. Not even the variation of a shadow. Do you agree that at any point there was any rational justification for men not to wear beards when that is how Jehovah made us? That's our nature, biology. If Jehovah didn't want us to have beards, why did he make us grow facial hair? Jehovah, can you let me know? No? I asked. Now look at your piece of paper. How many yeses do you have? How many no's do you have? If you have any yeses on that list that we just went through, then maybe you should rethink that. Maybe you should rewind the video and listen to it again. And this time around, be a little bit more honest with yourself. A little bit. Not saying, guys, just saying. Anyway, just some food for thought for today. Be blessed, and I'll see you in the next CO visit.